Chris said something a minute ago that I want to kind of tap in on with this whole conversation. As he talked about the big boy getting assaulted by his girlfriend, right? Right. I think that one scenario kind of speaks to us, right? Because the problem is he didn't feel like he could communicate with her a long time ago. It's almost like kids, right? When your kids show out in public, that means they've been showing out at the house a long time. Okay. And so you shouldn't even have to be whooping your kids. Y'all, look, we come up with different generation for most of us.
Right.
Most of us understand what it means to see that belt in the air or that switch in the air. Okay, we understand, right? Our kids don't really like we don't do that. But even so, and the parents used to tell us, say, look, you discipline your kids at the house so you don't have to discipline them out in the street, right? That man did not feel comfortable enough to be able to share his expectations in that relationship. He should have been early on, be able to say, listen, sweetheart, I like you. I feel good about you. We got a good vibe going on. But here are the things that can never happen. You can never publicly disrespect me. You can never abuse me. You can never raise your hand in anger. If you do, you're gone the first time. There will never be a second time.
Calvin, let's keep it real, okay? I'm not saying you're not. Let's keep it real.
Hold on.
Let's
Can I land my plane?
Because that sounds good in theory, but I've seen couples been together for such a long time, and then all of a sudden, the woman just, and vice versa, the man too. And it's like, wait a minute, what about the rules of engagement? What is this going on? But I'm telling you, because sometimes that little track got you going a little crazy.
Well, see, you know what? And so now in our modern times, like, men have finally caught up to the point that they understand the game now, right? They understand the game now. And part of the game was, back in the day, it was, if you want the trap, you got to marry her. So it was like, cheese. If you want the cheese, you got to go get it. And then you're caught, right? What men are now getting to the place they understand, listen, if I can have sexual discipline, I can get more than I ever could get before. Because it's the sexual discipline. If you can get the sexual discipline down, whereas she doesn't control you with the Venus fly trap, then you can say, hold on, here's what it is. And you said, well, things get along, and they start, after a while, they start getting crazy. You know what? If he's solid on his standards, I had a meeting today with a brand new client, a young man, and call it lion training, right? I said, listen, you have to have standards of behavior that you will accept and you will not accept. I don't care if she say, well, you ain't getting no more Venus. You know what? Fine. Because there's plenty more Venus out there.
I've been telling my cousins for years, don't ever put the whole thing in. And they always laugh at me when I say that. They always laugh at me when I say that. But that's what this conversation is. It's control, right?
Control.
It's control.
I told y'all.
It's going to be something different. Yo, I'm just saying.
Power and control.
Please.
But we also got to bring God into it. We have to have a spiritual thing in this relationship. God has to be in there, and it tells us what to do. But before you say that, I think I saw Joy giving a look earlier. Go ahead, Joy.
I'm giving many looks because I believe half of the stuff y'all saying and none of the stuff I hear. So, and that's just what it is, because to me personally, my own personal experience with love, relationship, and Venus flytrap and sticking it all in and all of that kind of stuff, that's bull crap. Because that's bull crap. Because I mean, men, they, first of all, we create life, us. we create life.
Yeah.
And you spend eternity trying to get back where you just came from. But the reason you do it is simply because we have the power, whether you believe it or not, whether you want to give us half or give us whole or have control or whatever the case may be. We have the power, and we're not trying to control you, but we are your help meet.
But
And that's all we want to do is help you meet your goals in life. And you don't, I feel, as you try to control or dictate the way that we love you, you're not loving us correctly because you're not trying to help us, or you're not trying to understand. That's a better word. You're not trying to understand where we're coming from. You're just trying to get what you want. Period. So instead of trying to get what you want, both parties need to try to understand where we're coming from so we can get to a common goal. Family, love, generational wealth, generational family, long-term, like bridging that gap that you were talking about. If we don't try to get to get an understanding between one another, that penis and that, excuse me, Venus flytrap and all of that doesn't even matter. It really doesn't.
I agree with everything you just said, because we do have the power. But here's the thing: when someone just said, "Well, if you're not going to do it," I think it was Kelvin. On to the next one. Well, you know what? Sometimes the evil that you know is better than the evil that you don't know. So
sometimes it ain't.
Okay, I'm not saying always. I'm not, but see, it's always cute in the beginning because it's a honeymoon phase. And the problem that we have in relationships, we don't take the time. Like right now, we're microwavable. If something is bad, let's find someone else. And then you got these side hoes, okay? Because I'm sick of these side hoes, okay? That's gonna be another show because I got something for them on the next show, okay? I'm so sick of it because I'm not. No, that's
even roaches have a place on Earth, baby.
Exactly.
Even roaches are needed.
Side hoes.
Right.
Side hoes are necessary.
Oh, let's talk about it.
Okay, let's talk about it.
You should have said that.
How are these side chicks necessary? And I'm saying that because I'm watching that show, and I'm going to bring it up, Married Huntsville. And this chick, Ariane Curry, and what she's doing. So I want to hear from you, Chris. What do you mean side chicks are necessary? Because I raised you better than that.
They're necessary for men that need them. Everybody has a place in the web of life, and that's their place. And this is the thing. This is the thing. It's not just men that relegate them to that. You have women that relegate themselves to that. Remember, not too long ago, there was a reality show called The Real Side Chicks of Charlotte or wherever it is. Mm-hmm. So you have women that embrace this. No matter how many times men told them not to, women still ran towards it. And you have men that got a lot of options. This is what they do when they go on their business trip. Sometimes they go to handle business, and sometimes they go to handle business. But it's a necessary evil for people that want to entertain it.
Honestly speaking, I have to agree with the young man.
Of course you do.
Yeah, simply because a woman has all these job duties, right? So honestly, even in the beginning, you had a wife and then you had the concubines, right? So everybody had a place in that relationship. So suppose one day you come home and guess what? I don't feel like doing him right now. Or I don't feel like cooking, or I don't feel like doing this. Okay, he got somebody else to fulfill those desires that you independently can't do. I mean, at first, in the beginning, when I started dating, it was like, oh my God, I can't believe you cheated on me. But it's only cheating if you're not honest. It's only cheating if you're not honest. So if you're honest and both people are agreeing and they understand what it is in the relationship, hey, so she has a purpose.
Would you be okay with it if your husband were to come to you and say, you know what, Joy, wait a minute, let me finish. Wait a minute. Because look, I almost fell off my chair. So, and I'm not, look, let me, for those watching.
Joy, I'll drink to that.
This is
Word.
this
Second that. Second and third that.
this is not, this is not this is not a judgment show. I'm not here to judge anyone. I'm just here questioning their answers so I can understand. So what you're saying is, if your husband said, hey, let's bring another woman in the relationship, and because it doesn't always have to be sexual. It could also be they take care of the kids, they bring home the money, they take care. So you're saying if your husband were to say, you know what, let's delegate her to do certain things, you would be okay with it if
Okay, so let me give you a conversation we just had. Because I am married.
right.
Was what I'm not pleasing you in that area. I think you should look for someone who can, because I know that I have downfalls, and I don't want you to suffer because I can't please you in that area. Well, you can't please me in a certain area either. So you have to be comfortable with me going over here, getting that from where I need it from. So there has to be an understanding, and it's not always sexual. Sometimes it's communication. Sometimes it's fun and laughter, whatever it may be for that person. I am so on board with that now. Before it was taught to us, by whoever, it was taught to us that no, they're cheating if they have multiple women, or they have, because it was always men. It's never women, but women do that also. Women do that.
Okay.
So in Atlanta, we in Atlanta, we got this polygamy group down here.
Yes. So I agree with that, because I'm in a place. I'm 47 years old, and I know I can't do everything. So I don't want you to sit around waiting for me to please you or to make you happy when you can go out and you can get that from somebody else. That 20% that I'm not giving you, somebody else may.
What I have to say, and I have to commend you on, is you are honest about it. You know what I'm saying? At least you're honest, and this is what you want to do. Do you have that feeling that if it does happen, that he may not or she may not develop emotional ties towards your significant other, if that were to happen?
If they develop emotional ties to one another and he decides that, okay, that is the better person for him, I can't do anything but respect that. I can't hold him back from something.
That's grown woman.
That is grown shit. Oh, excuse my language. Yeah, that's
grown woman right
But that's
there.
the right answer. That's how you're supposed to move, logically speaking. You're not supposed to want to bind somebody in a relationship that doesn't want to be there, especially when you know you're not fulfilling their basic needs, whatever those basic needs may be. That's unfair and it's selfish. So
So here's the thing. One of the reasons that many people don't really want to get into poly relationships and have kind of all these extra things going on, because it requires something for it all to work. You know what it requires? A lot of communication.
Mm-hmm.
The only way that this kind of stuff works is a lot of talking. Like, you got to sit down and ask, why is it that you want more than one person? Why is it that you will allow somebody else into the relationship? Like, what's really going on underneath all of that? And most people are just not willing to do that much talking and that much real, keeping it really real about what they really need. And so then they just cheat. So they just go ahead and just go do it and let the chips fall where they may.
And I can, from my experience, I'm a talker, right? Chris, shut up. I'm a talker. And for me, what I see different in our relationship than others, we talked about everything prior to getting married. Like, if one of us gets injured and can't perform, people thought we were talking about this way in advance, but these are things that happen.